Hello, my name is Cassandra Briseño, and this is my website, All Unite. The first page we have here is the home page, of course, where all visitors will first encounter when visiting my website. However, before we begin and dive into the website itself, I would like to offer a summary of the website, such as the purpose of it all. And I would say it serves a dual purpose as it can work as a family web page. However, I wouldn't say particularly a family blog because I feel like there's just more elements and content that goes into those that can't really be seen with mine, and that's totally fine. Now, I consider it a family web page when looking at it in the perspective of a relative viewing the site, especially for those long-distance family members that aren't able to stay in contact often, or it is simply just a site where new friends or peers could look through it and learn more about me. Now, with that said, the target audience for it will consist of mainly my family members and possibly a few friends, and given that I have a large family, the range will consist of 16 to 50-year-old of both men and women. However, I really do feel like the ones that would browse through it the most, or more specifically, would be my aunts and younger cousins, which would go down to a specific range. From 16 to 40-year-old women. They would be coming from Utah and California and would belong to the middle class. Now, after seeing the videos of how we should let the target audience have a great influence in the view and feel of the website, I made sure to make that a focus and goal in order to accommodate to that, which I did so through my choice of color scheme and layout, which includes this blush neutral color with the black and the white that are coming through. And funny story, I got this neutral color because as you could see in the mock-up design on Gravit Designer, I believe, when I was looking through the scope of different colors that were here and through this hero image, I was trying to look at the green and see if I could possibly use any of the green into my color scheme when I was still trying to figure out what colors to use. And when I went over one of these hands, this blush neutral color really it came through and I really liked it. So when I implemented it into my mock-up, I did see some feedback that it may be better to explore and experience other color schemes. However, I just kept coming back to this one. I feel like it really accommodates to the aesthetic and feel that I'm going for with my website. So I decided to just keep it, and I'm glad I did. So yeah, that's a little story of the color scheme itself. And again, to go with that simplistic and modern feel I was talking about, I would say that in my elements, I made sure to keep the consistency of the rectangle shapes and the square shapes, because I feel like it just has like that sharpness to it, and I just really, sorry, excuse me. Okay, so going back to this square shape, I remember at first in my mockup I had this as 2 columns, and I believe in the last discussion I still had it as 2 columns, and I did see a suggestion, I believe by Odin, to fix the alignment because one column was just higher than the other. And when I was doing so in the process of that, I took out the column and it went to this square shape. And then I decided to add a border and a background color to it to see if I would like that better than the columns, and I really did. And I added this dashed border in particular to kind of add a bit of contrast of all those solid and sharp shapes that can be seen. And I feel like by doing so, it really gave it like a sleek feel to it once again, and I just really liked it. Now, as we dive into the website, the first thing we have here is the nav bar. And in the mockup, I had this with a square shape behind the home because that was the page that I had developed at first, of course. And behind it was the background color of this neutral blush coming through. However, I had a suggestion by Odin, I believe, to do a hover effect instead. So I did so, and you could see how it comes through. And I really like how it comes through with it in a rectangular shape, because I feel like it really goes with and ties in those elements of, once again, the square and the rectangle shapes, which I really like. And I did struggle a lot throughout parts of this class because, again, I was a beginner, as some of you may be, and I just had no background in coding whatsoever, so it was almost like learning a new language, which really scared me. But I feel like being able to implement this hover, I know it's more of a simple element to it. However, for me, it was a proud moment, which I really was happy once it came through and I saw that it worked. So yeah, and then going down here, here's an image of myself, and this is just introducing myself along with the website and kind of talking about what each of these pages consist of and what the user should expect. And then down here below, I just said that I invited them to explore the website themselves and learn more about me. And if they would like to comment, share feedback, or have any questions, they could contact me down here, down below in my footer area. And when you click on it, it'll send you to the default email app, I believe, and I'll have my email address ready to go so they can just send me some feedback, comments, questions, anything. And this, let me just not save that. Okay. And this footer idea, I believe Jordy suggested, which I'm really glad he did, because before I don't think I had one, and so not having one kind of made my site a bit bland. And then adding a contact me, I believe, was also Jordy's suggestion, which thank you again. And I made sure to not just leave my email address by itself, again, to prevent hacking and all of that. And making it bigger in the size that this footer is was a suggestion made by Odin, I believe, because at first I really did have a thin footer, which was really hard to see, and the contact me was barely visible. So I feel like doing so really helped a lot by adding some padding to it, line height, and so on. And as you can see, as I was going over it, there is a hover effect on here as well, and it is gray because as you move forward into the next pages, down here you can see the footer is of a different color, but it is again to accommodate to my color scheme and how I lay out that color scheme throughout my site. So in this one, as you can see, the dominant color in the main is black, so of course I'm gonna have these be the neutral blush color coming through, and that gray was the only color I could think of to accommodate to both the black and the neutral color footer that is shown behind it. And once again, I have these headers that are consistent throughout all my sites, and you'll be seeing, which again has just like a hey there, and this one you can't see one except for down here it has a welcome, and those will just be seen throughout. So right here we have I did a flex item, and this again was a proud moment of mine because I was able to really figure out the alignment of it quite easily, and I was able to just have these here to introduce my mom, my dad, my brother, someone to just get to know my family, again, those who are viewing my site for the first time, a fellow peer. And because our last name is Briseño, I added here the Briseño family, and it was really a nice touch that I really liked to it. And moving on, the family fun. Again, this I believe is a flex item. Yes, it is. And I was able to figure out the alignment of it all, and that was really fun to do and a proud moment of mine as well. Again, this matches my paragraph, which is seen in my homepage, and I made sure to keep those elements the same. And again, that dash border for contrast of all those square and sharp shapes that are coming through, which are really fun to look at. And down here, another proud moment of mine, but it was also very simple and easy to do after viewing that video from one of our homeworks, I believe. And I really like it because the user can just truly go onto it and mess around with it without having to go directly to the source. However, if they choose to, they are able to do so, as you can see. And yeah, that was really cool to do. And I would like to note that with all of my images that I used, all my personal images, as well as the hero images, I made sure to crop them and run them through the compressor site, sorry, and get their file sizes down. And I feel like it really helped with the loading time of the pages. And I'm just glad I was able to do so. Moving on to my friends page. Here I provided a hero image, and again I cropped it and then I ran it through that compressor, and I really like how it came out. And again, I used like the same type of consistency within the elements of the dash border with the background neutral blush. And this is again a flex item within a grid, and I liked it because I was able to find that alignment with it. And again, with this I added this radius, not as harsh as can be seen in my about us of my family members. Of course, I used a more oval because these are more sharp shapes that came through. And in this one, I added a bit of radius, but not all the way, just so it'd be a little subtle. And I really like how that came through. And again, I did that for contrast. Moving forward to my inspiration. This again is a flex item, and I really like how it came out because the alignment of it all just came very nicely. And I added this down here, a quote to live by, a cute little touch, and again, keeping my color scheme consistent. One thing I would say is that some ways I use contrast, as you can see often, is, for example, in the font of my nav bar. It's also present in this paragraph here, and I would consider it like a thin robot type font. And in the header, like this header is more of a bold, thick font, such as this one, and then in between is again that a thinner font. And I like it going from a thin to a bold to a thin to a bold, and again a bold to a thin, and then a bold. I feel like by doing so it has that contrast, but not so much so that it kind of feels crazy or too much, just enough so that it's subtle, but it's also there, so it just doesn't all look the same. But yeah, so you could just see that coming through in all those headers, the bold, the thin, once again. Going back to the home page. Now, what part of my website I feel would still need work is the mobile friendly aspect of it. For example, when resizing this, as you could see, the hero text goes out of alignment and the nav bar keeps going, and it kind of creates this cut, which definitely does not look good, and I feel like there's definitely a way to fix that. However, I was not able to find that. But the weirdest thing is that I was using the inspect tool to see how I can improve it. And in the, oh, here we go. Yeah, it's already on the iPhone X. In the mobile version, a mobile perspective of the iPhone X, for example, you could see the nav bar and the content all stays in, and it just looks quite nice. And I really like how it looks because it's just able to fit the content and nothing's really cut out, as you can see before. So that was one thing that I would, probably the main thing that I would fix and everything. Something I would change, or I feel add, is more of these cool innovative technologies. This one in particular was quite simple, but I feel like if I was more accustomed, I would definitely add more throughout my page and just fix out some of that layout in order to make it more professional looking. But all in all, I would say that, just to review some final things, is just talk about the main goal that I had. And the main goal was I wanted the user, more specifically my friends and family, to explore through the page and reminisce on memories it may hold. It can be a way down to look through memory lane, as was mentioned in one of these headers. And I would like it for also be useful to those family members that live far and aren't able to be present in those moments, but continue to stay connected with the family one way or another, this being one way. The overall goal being to bring a smile to someone's face and remember the good old days. I want to say thank you all for your suggestions and help. It was a truly rocky start, but I feel over the course, I got accustomed to it and I really enjoyed learning more about coding. Thank you all, and as Odin said, happy summer.